Hello, it is Tuesday, September 12th, 2023. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It's a Tuesday crossword today, which means we should have another fairly approachable puzzle and fairly gentle theme. So let's find out what it is. I said so as though I had something to say. I guess I didn't. In any case, this hopefully still approachable edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Aaron Spiller, the Lake House Bros, William Arundel, and, as always, the indomitable Shoalmaster and the incredible Horan family. So thank you so much to the five of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, for their generous support in sustaining this channel. I really do appreciate it. It keeps this whole thing going. And if you'd like to contribute to the channel yourself and help this series out, you can head over to patreon.com/dailysolve or click the link in the description field. And there you can find, of course, the bonus videos for patrons, such as the recent mini puzzle pseudo speed solve of a week of mini crosswords, and the September monthly bonus puzzle themed around World Pet Rock Day. So those are up there if you're interested. And thank you to everybody who is a patron. I really do appreciate it. Also, please do subscribe to the channel on YouTube if you've been enjoying these videos. And thanks if you've done that. Finally, there is the Daily Solve Discord chat server, and you can join that via a link in the description field. It's a nice, friendly chat community, so do check it out. All right, let's start solving this crossword. It is a construction by Ella Dershowitz, whose, I believe, 8th puzzle this is for the New York Times. It was edited, of course, as always, by Will Shortz. So let's start solving, see how we do with it. Conks on the head. I can only think of synonyms for this that are too long. Let's see. It probably ends with an S. Does that give me anything? Parsley portion, a sprig of parsley. So that is how that plant would be, a bunch of that plant would be referred. Not a bunch, but in a unit. Degree for a creative type. Could be an MFA, maybe, a Master of Fine Arts. And if one goes crazy, one flips out. There we go. I think that's what I'm looking for. Here we have Old Fashioned, which is a cocktail, a whiskey cocktail. And why do I not see this? Conks on the head. I don't know. For some reason, I can't think what that word is. Cuter than cute would be adorable, I suppose. And we're starting to spell something in these circled cells. Oh, they're the 4 of the letter C. Sorry, I didn't really properly parse that. So we have 4 of the letter C. And sponge, it looks like this might spell if we fill in the remainder. Let's see if that works with the crosses. Alternatives to Asics. Right, okay, so that's a shoe. So an alternative brand to Asics might be Nikes. Well, I guess Nikes would be the plural, referring to them as the shoes. Referring to the shoes as Nikes. And then prolonged attack would be a siege. So we have spelled out sponge. There we go. I wonder what that means. Sea sponge. Oh, sea sponge. Right. Okay, I see. So I think we're going to be spelling out sort of homophones using the letter C. So sea sponge, you'd spell it S-E-A, S-P-O-N-G-E, and you're referring to the sea creature. But we've done it with this C shape. So I presume we'll be doing that more throughout the grid, 3 more times, in fact. All right, trailblazers are pioneers. So what is this? Mops. Conks on the head, mops. If you sort of brain somebody, is that called mopping them? I actually don't know that terminology. Okay, I have to assume it's correct. We'll move on. It's a Tuesday puzzle. It shouldn't be too complicated, so it must just be something I haven't heard. Drink brand with a lizard logo. Oh, right. I haven't seen this in ages. Sobeys? What is it? Was it sort of, or is, I suppose, flavored iced teas, maybe? I don't actually remember what this is. I think it might be that. Source of waves in space. A pulsar emits waves. All right. I used to know much more about this when I was younger, but don't remember too much, but I do remember pulsars pulse and they emit waves, and that's sort of how you observe them. Place for a hot bath is a spa, and then if one chowed down, one ate. Torts students typically, so if you're studying torts, you're studying kind of legal wrongs, so you could be a law student, and I know that there is a convention in law school to refer to first-year students as 1Ls, I think, and I don't know if it may follow with 2L, 3L, but I'm not sure, but I think this is probably the answer here. Let's look at the crosses and see. This is one of those things I've only personally encountered because of the crossword But let's look at the crosses, see if this is correct. I've got this. On me, maybe? Could be referring to a task or maybe a restaurant bill. Opposite of day in Germany would be Nacht for night. Before in poetry would be air, so before in a sort of quaint or poetic way. Patty in the American Theater Hall of Fame. Patti LuPone is a famous name of the American theater, so I think that would be a pretty safe guess. And mall map listings are stores. Stores would be listed on a mall map. Best-selling Japanese manga and anime series. Well, I've heard of Naruto. I couldn't tell you what it's about, but I'm sure that is the answer. It looks extremely correct. And a summer snack on a stick is an ice pop. Oh, right. This isn't on me. It's on it. Right. Okay. So this does not refer to a restaurant bill, but it only refers to a task. In this case, I'm on it. You could say, I've got this on it. Okay, summer snack on a stick would be an ice pop, slanted columns, question mark. So that question mark indicating a bit of punniness here. So in this case, rather than something being physically slanted, we could use something slanted to a particular viewpoint in a kind of figurative sense. So op-eds are opinion pieces in newspapers, and so those would be the columns with a slant. Oh, right, and we've got our next sea thing. So it is a sea urchin. There we go, another sea creature. So I wonder if these will all be sea creatures or if some of them will be other uses of the word sea, like sea change, for instance, which was in the connections yesterday, I think. But I don't know. We'll have to find out. Theoretical degree would be the nth. You could often say to the nth degree to indicate either a kind of unknown, it's sort of indefinite number, or often it's used to mean a very high one. Nabisco wafer brand. Oh, I always forget if this is NECA or NECO wafers. I'll have to leave it there for now. Comedian Wong. Oh no, it's neither of these. Sorry, it's Nilla wafers. It's the other 5-letter wafer starting with an N. Strangely, Nilla wafers. Okay, so for vanilla. And then Comedian Wong is Ali Wong, right? The comedian and actor, and then. A sister brand of Crest would be Oral-B. So those are two dental hygiene brands, oral hygiene brands, I should say. Parrot, if you parrot somebody, you repeat them, you mimic them, you ape them. It's funny to me how many different ways we have to say this that are all animal names. What an interesting sort of idiomatic feature of the English language. Actor Waterston. Sam Waterston. Was he in the original Law and Order, maybe? I think that might be right. Hoppy Quaff, in brief, would be an IPA, an India Pale Ale, a very hoppy, bitter beer. And a felt-typed writing implement would be a marker, felt-tipped marker frequently. Ashton Kutcher's That 70s Show role. Oh, right, boy. I know that I did see some of this show back when it was airing, actually, but I do not remember any of the characters' names. Blanc de vie, eau de vie, water of life, literally from French. And killer whales are orcas, often referred to as killer whales. Aquatic denizen. Oh, right, okay, so these all will be sea creatures in our seas here. Aquatic denizen are a phonetic hint to this puzzle's circled words. Sea creatures. There we go. Oops, sea creature, I should say, because the clue only clues a singular aquatic denizen. Very good. Okay, so there we have a nice centrally located revealer. The revealer, of course, being the clue and answer that ties together all of our theme clues in the puzzle. And in this case, it does so right from the center of the grid, which is nice because it's sort of framed by our 4C illustrations. Okay, what have we not looked at? Gets ready to skate. Laces up. You could lace up your skates on your feet. Prefix with structure could be infrastructure, so kind of, civic construction in a way. Loch Ness Monster is the alleged Scottish water-dwelling beast, and an apt name for a rock climber, Cliff, I suppose. The name Cliff could well be an apt one for such a person. If someone chomps on something, that person bites it, and sounds like a blast. You could say fun. Dental coat would be enamel on the teeth, and a mathematical grouping that contains no elements. the empty set, right. I remember that concept. That's the empty set is a concept I suppose I must have learned back in school and probably have not referenced since then that I can think. But I do remember its existence. Yale student would be an Eli. That's the sort of nickname applied to those who attended Yale University, named, I believe, for its founder. And toilet paper specification would be ply, so you could have 1-ply, 2-ply, I suppose 3-ply toilet paper, the kind of layers of paper. Soap-making ingredient would be lye, as used in making soap. And a certain belly button would be an outie as opposed to an innie. Have we looked up here yet? No, I don't believe we have. Hawaiian beach bashes would be luau's. And ladder levels are rungs of the ladder. Rude omissions are snubs. 4.0 is a great one. That would be a great GPA, a great grade point average. That would mean you were a straight A student. To pester someone persistently would be to badger them. Right, here's another one. This is another, I think I maybe observed this the other day. Oh, and it's funny, it's in a very similar position to the ape. It's kind of running into, or in this case, out of a black cell there. But to badger somebody, to nag somebody, to hound somebody, these are all ways to say, to kind of pester or bother somebody. They're maybe a bit more distinct than the various ape mimic ones, but they're all also animals. I find that interesting. Unwashed is dirty, and table scraps are orts, little bits of food. A little bit of food is an ort, a little morsel. There's a crossword word for you. If something's of practical value, it's of use, it's utile. And which I think is actually directly the French. Braggarts are egotists, people who are full of themselves. Musician Brian, here we go. The official male solo artist of the New York Times crossword is Brian Eno. There we go. Haven't seen him too often recently. I think we've seen Yoko Ono more frequently recently. Release of confidential material to the media would be a news leak. And a precursor to rocksteady is the Jamaican genre ska, which has come up a few times recently, the relationship between ska and rocksteady in the crossword. That's funny. I don't remember that as traditionally being a huge, I don't remember seeing it in the crossword particularly often, but recently it has been, which is perfectly nice. Color akin to khaki is tan. That would make sense. And a Sicilian smoker would be Etna, so not someone smoking a cigarette in Sicily, but rather the volcano Mount Etna. British singer-songwriter Rita, here we have Rita Ora, who I've at least heard of. And then Corn Belt State would be Iowa, so I guess Corn Belt of the United States. I don't know exactly what states comprise the Corn Belt, but Iowa is one of them. So there we go. Okay. Oh, right. Sorry, we never looked at our next C. I forgot about the sea turtle. There we go. Sea turtle has been spelled out in our pictorial C there. All right. Successful search results are hits, web hits if you're searching for something online. And then, oh, Kelso. Okay, I do actually. That name does scratch an itch in my head somewhere. Ashton Kutcher as the character Kelso, so there we have it. Muslim headscarf could be a hijab. Let's check the crosses on that. Challenge for a translator, perhaps. An idiom. So, right. So, idiomatic use of language, such as, I don't know, you could argue that maybe saying badgering someone or aping someone is idiomatic, although maybe not. I suppose those are just sort of direct synonyms, really, at this point. So, I don't know. Maybe those wouldn't be considered idiomatic language, but something like news leak, I suppose, would be. Because if you parse this as two words and you try and literally translate them, you could get to the meaning, but it wouldn't necessarily, it's a slightly idiomatic usage in the sense that it's not as though the news is leaking by itself. It's being intentionally kind of given to somebody, which is not how a leak works ordinarily. That's something kind of inadvertent. All right, Oscar, Golden Globe, and Grammy winner Batiste. John Batiste is a musician who I did not realize would have won. I wonder what he won an Oscar for. Maybe Has he acted at all, or maybe it was for music in a film? Okay. In any case, I'm sure it's the answer. Huffy response to an untrue accusation would be, I do not, maybe you could say. I absolutely do not already know that John Batiste won an Oscar, although I'm not huffy about it. Little Bell's sound is a tinkle, maybe, or a tingle, perhaps? Oh, if it were a tinkle, then this sea creature could be a sea monkey. There we go. Sea monkey. And then, oh, here we have Anne Boleyn, figure in Broadway's Six. Right, okay. I've not seen Six. I've heard good things about it. It's a musical. It's advertised absolutely. I mean, it has been now, I think, for years, advertised in basically every central London Underground station. And it's about the six wives of Henry VIII. And so it's some kind of musical review starring those characters. I've heard good things. Turkey's capital is Ankara. That's interesting that they're using the sort of older transliteration of Turkey. Turkey recently changed its the way that it wants its name represented internationally. I think they registered that change with the United Nations. So you have seen it. I suspect in actual news coverage, the New York Times uses the new name. I don't know, maybe not. But anyway, here we have it with the sort of traditional, I don't know, English language spelling. Okay, the bells of St. Mary's. There we go. I can't remember what this actually is, but the phrase certainly reminds me of something. Income source for Meta. So Meta, the company that owns Facebook, derives significant revenue from advertisement services. And then almost any character in Hamlet is a Dane, because, of course, the plot of the Shakespeare play Hamlet takes place in Denmark. Well, it's set in Denmark, I should say. Brusque is terse. Maybe you give someone a brusque response, a terse response, a kind of clipped response. And then here we have Aer Lingus, which is a major Irish airline. So, no, I got something wrong. Oh, no. Okay, I'll have to search through this then. Maybe I'll edit out my search if it goes on too long, just because it's not interesting for you to sit here and watch this. So let me just find what I've done. Okay, I think I've realized my mistake. So it's right at the very beginning of the grid. Sorry to all of you who are just wondering, what on earth is this person thinking? If you conk someone on the head, you don't mop them, you bop them. And a degree for a creative type need not be an MFA, a Master of Fine Arts. It could well be a BFA, a Bachelor of Fine Arts. I cannot believe I just didn't second guess that. And there we go. Yeah. Strange. The sound just stopped. Okay. Well, hopefully the recording is fine. I noticed while going through the grid, trying to find my mistake before realizing it was right at the beginning, I missed some. That was strange. So I missed some clues. So mind stuff is or here in 21 across. Like tridents and forks are tined. They have tines. I think I missed a few other things, but now I forget what exactly they were. Oh, well, I don't need to waste more time looking for those. But I did. I think I missed at least one more clue that I saw when I was running through this. Anyway, there we have it. It was bops and BFA. My confusion, right almost at the beginning of the puzzle, is finally explained. So, not my finest moment there. Sorry for those of you who were yelling at me through the screen for the entirety of that solve, essentially. I just wasn't thinking. Don't have any other excuse. But there we go. That was the Tuesday puzzle. Should be fairly approachable if you don't make the kind of mistake I did right off the bat. And then I think the thing that was extra ridiculous is that I sort of talked myself into an incorrect answer by saying, oh, I suppose I just don't know what it is. And so I think by doing that, I almost sort of psychologically resolved that. It didn't stick in my head as something that was unknown and unresolved. It just was waved aside as something that I must not be familiar with. Anyway, there we have it. It happens in the crossword, I guess. Be on the lookout for that sort of thing. I don't know how exactly one should stay on the lookout for that, but I don't know. It's a potential pitfall. Okay, well, in any case, that was the Tuesday crossword. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back tomorrow. Can't see any reason I won't be back tomorrow for the Wednesday crossword, a midweek, mid-difficulty solve, maybe a bit of a step up in difficulty from the today's and yesterday's puzzles. That's ordinarily what happens on Wednesday. But let's find out. Join me tomorrow and we'll see. Until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Tuesday. Do take care.